Steve's a champion. Again, very, very knowledgeable. His son is also a good race car driver, but Steve behind the wheel, he knows what he wants. At the time that I got to work with him, it was an underfunded team, and we didn't have all the horsepower that the other guys had, but we had solid motors, and we were able to finish races. And he's always very appreciative because he knew the situation that we were in money wise, and knew we were getting the most out of what we had to work with. Very, very, very good guy to work around.
Good to hear. What was the closest you came to victory, if you did?
And the Cup Series, the best was third with Kenny Wallace. Sat on the pole a few times when we had Scott Pruitt at Kyle Wells' PPI. Sat on the pole there. We've won Xfinity races, Busch races, won truck races, multiple ARCA races, but I've never, as a crew chief, never won a Cup race. As a car chief, like I said, third was the best I ever did.
When was that with Kenny Wallace?
Talladega. That was the year that it went caution-free for 499 miles, and that's back when we had the Winston. So then they put us in the chase for the Winston, the no bull fives we had. So again, Kenny Wallace is another one on a road course, on a speedway, just like Mike Wallace. They can go to the front. So we finished third. That was with Barry Dotson at Eel River Racing.
Oh.
And that was a great day for us.
So I think that was probably 2001. Did Bobby Hamilton win the race at all?
I think you're right. I'll be honest, I was so excited about us, you forget who actually wins. It was such a milestone for us, and we were all excited. And, you go that long with no caution laps, hitting the car, green flag stops every time. You had to be on point. And back then we didn't have all the trained pit crews. We actually did it ourselves, most of us. I think I was changing tires. So, I think Bobby Kosky was jacking for us. Quentin Payne was probably changing tires too. These guys are still in the sport. So yeah, it was a great day for us. And, I was happy for Barry Dotson. May he rest in peace also. But he was also a great mentor to me, great friend, good fishing partner. So yeah, it was a good day for us.
Great to hear. It's really unusual these days to see a caution-free Talladega race, so that's impressive.
Yes, it was. Yeah, we're all excited because we didn't have to fix the cars so we didn't crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever...
We didn't have the big one.
The big one, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Those are the unfortunate ones with the hardest damage.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have to explain yourself at all to the NASCAR Appellate Commission at all during your career, or so far no?
No, not really. No more than a pit crew member going over the wall without a helmet, and that was one of them. You talk about that race when I always helped Morgan Shepherd whenever he needed some help. We were at Talladega, and we were pitting, and that's when Jeff Gordon and all of them went spinning through the infield there, through the grass. The grass was going everywhere. One of my pit crew members was up on the wall and didn't have his helmet on, and a fan ran up and bumped into Scott, knocked him over the wall. Of course, that's a fine of back then it was $2,500 for no helmet. So yeah, I've been through a little bit of those, but nothing like now. I mean, now they hand the fines out like crazy. Lug nut penalties and all this stuff. I don't know what they'll do with the lug nut penalties next year because the Cup cars only have one lug nut per wheel.
Yeah,
maybe that's why they were piling them on this year.
I wonder, because I have a feeling that NASCAR over time would get tired of all the loose lug nuts.
Yeah, because back then our joke was three tight to win, five if you want to finish second. But then they started tacking on the fines, so then we had to have five to win.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't wait to see what the next gen car will be like, but with one lug nut. That'll be interesting, and the other things they have.
Right, yeah, because the fuel system will pretty much be the same. So now you're going to be waiting on fuel. So they're debating on if the changers will carry their own tires, because they're aluminum wheels now, so they're even lighter. I don't think we're going to have interliners in them. They're still on the, because the sidewalls are so small now. So I don't know if there will actually be interliners in them either.
Yeah, that's going to be a little interesting to find out, but yeah. How'd you get your ride with Next Gen Motorsports?
We put that together. Actually, we were a little bit of part owners there, and with Jose Sabatas, Felix's brother, and we were doing well and headed in the right direction. We had Brennan Poole drive some for us. He ran 2 races. I got him in after he lost his ride over Ganassis, and he did a great job for us. And then our sponsorship and his sponsorship kind of fell through, and Jose wanted to do something different, and so we just kind of parted ways, and all was good with that. And then Brennan was able to get in the Cup ride with Premium Motorsports after that, and did well in the Cup Series. And then he's got a truck. I think he drove the 30 truck for a while. So I think he'll be back next year too, Brennan. So I hope so.
I hope so too, because it was disappointing for me to see him leave the Ganassi team, because I thought he had the potential to win with that team eventually, sooner or later. But yeah.
Oh yes, and see, I worked with Brennan in the ARCA cars at Venturini Motorsports. One time that Billy Venturini's done a tremendous job at Motorsports. Him and Big Bill, his father. And one time there we had Brennan Poole, Eric Jones, Ryan Reed, Blaney, all of these guys there at one time. It was Kevin Swindell, Clint King, all these guys that went on to have a tremendous career, but all of them every week were battling each other for the wins. And Big Bill and Billy and Kathy, they made it to where we were one team all the time, and that's tough to do. They had good bonus programs. If one team wins, we all went to victory lane. There was a lot of times we were 1, 2, 3, 4, so that was good.
That sort of reminds me a little bit of the Nashville weekend with the IndyCar series that was hosted earlier this year. Sort of reminds me a little bit of that, because I attended that weekend, and it seemed like in a lot of the series that was competing, Stadium Super Trucks, Trans Am, and GT America, IndyCar, there was so much access to so many people in the racing industry that were there, and I had a chance meeting with Roger Penske. So yeah. So it seems it's always good when you can interact with so many people in the racing industry in one sitting. Would you agree?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The stories that you'll hear there's always stories. I don't know why. There's always stories.
Yeah.
And most of them, you gotta laugh afterwards because it's so bad at the time,
Yeah, I've heard some pretty interesting stories from a lot of guests that have appeared. Yeah, believe me, there's funny ones. I will say, though, that your Hideo story was really funny.
Oh, yeah, well, I've got more.
Do you have any other ones you want to share?
Oh, I mean, I was crew chief for Stuart Friesen when he first came down here. when we ran it through Billy Cass until they decided they were going to go over to Tommy Baldwin's. But, Stewart had never been in a paved car, truck, nothing. He'd never been on pavement. I mean, he is Kyle Larson. That guy he can be that good. I always told him, I said, man, you're so cool, you're freezing. And he just laughed. But so we go to Eldor, finish third. Then we got to go to Bristol, and you can't test, so you couldn't test. So we go, and I'm like, look, this is how it's going to be, you're going to be all right. I don't know. I said, you're going to be fine. You can drive anything, Stuart. So we actually make it through the second round of qualifying. He's like, holy cow. So we're in the second round, and that's when we had 3 rounds of qualifying. And he scuffs the wall coming off of 4 a little bit, and I'm like, it's okay. So we actually qualified like 18. And he's like, I thought I was going to be back further, so I wouldn't be so nervous. I'm like, we'll be fine. So he starts 18th, and they drop the green flag, and about 12 laps, we're dead last. And we're getting ready to go a lap down. So we go a lap down, and then the caution comes out. I said, all right, we're going to pit. And Billy Hess looks up to me, and, Billy Hess's knowledge of racing is unbelievable. He looks at me and he goes, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to pit to breathe. He said, what? I said, I want to have Stuart come down here, and I'm going to tell him just to sit here. We're going to clean the grill, clean the windshield, but I'm going to have him breathe. And so we pitted to breathe. And I said, Stuart, you're going to sit here and breathe. He goes, Teddy, I don't think I breathed the whole time. And I said, yes, you're going to breathe now. So we get the lucky dog back, and he finishes on the lead lap, like 16. And he's like, I never realized I wasn't breathing. And it's funny because with Jordan Anderson this year, we had Sage Karma driving, the IndyCar driver. And I asked him too, I said, did you breathe any? He said, Teddy, I didn't breathe. He said, it's so funny you would ask me that. So I told him the Stuart Friesen story. He goes, I hurt so bad the next day or two because I was so tense. I wasn't breathing. He said, you should have just came over the radio and told me to breathe. So, yeah, Stuart is they've got a good situation over there with Halmar, and he's going to be around for a while. He's a very, very, very talented